everybody. Welcome to Double Overtime, even though today is kind of triple
That's right.
overtime.
We're in another overtime today.
Yeah, I am Monse.
I'm John.
And you must know who this is. If not, let me tell you, this is Patricio O'Ward. Patricio, ¿cómo estás?
Muy bien, ¿cómo están ustedes?
Pura vida. But from now on, we're going to do English for this guy.
Thank you. I could say bien.
Bien?
Thank you.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes.
right. You should get some Rosetta Stone.
Oh, I should get a Rosetta Stone. That's true.
Stone, yeah.
I'm going to get that.
How you
that's
doing?
We're doing well. I mean, we've been, it's a new venue for me. I've never been to Long Beach. So I think we're in for a special treat.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful place. I was amazed with how many people were here yesterday. It's usually not this busy on a Friday, so it's really cool to see, and everybody's just really energetic about it. Everybody knows the drivers. Everybody knows kind of a little bit about the history about this place, and I think we're going to be in a good show this weekend for sure.
I mean, it's only the second day, but so far, what's been your favorite part of this racetrack?
I guess, the track is really, really cool. It's a street course. I'm a big fan of street courses, but it's really, really difficult to get a lap together. The times, I think we're 24 cars within like a second. So it's going to be really tight. Qualifying is going to be really intense, and it's going to be a huge stepping stone into having a good race tomorrow, because it's pretty tough to pass around here. But we're looking good. Yesterday we were looking strong, and the objective is to transfer to the Firestone Fast 6 for sure.
Right. We understand that you're in the top 10 currently right now. Is that correct?
Yeah. Today, with blacks, we're still working a little bit on the car setup. We ended 9th in blacks, and yesterday when everybody got to put reds, we were 5th. So our car looks to be a little bit nicer on the reds, and we're still learning a little bit on the blacks, but we made a huge improvement this morning.
Oh, very nice.
That's awesome. When did you know you wanted to race? I mean, I feel like as a 6-year-old, because I heard you've been racing since you were 6, as a 6-year-old, I was not thinking about racing a car.
It just starts as a hobby, as something that you like. I started in cars when I was 6. When I made the move to bigger cars or Formula cars was 2014. And then you just start progressing from there. Now I get to be in a star category, but I guess just whenever the switch becomes where people just notice that you can drive, you just learn to love it. And the most important thing is that you have fun. You have fun and you love what you're doing. And I adore this. And more than anything, I would choose this over anything, because if you ask me, do I like soccer, basketball, I really don't care. I think those are boring. I think this is the best sport in the world, because even as a driver, but I think as a fan, it gives you everything. It gives you adrenaline. It gives you like just the smell, the rush. It gives you everything that no other sport gets to you. So I think it's, in my opinion, obviously it's the best place to be in the world.
Of course.
Great.
This kind of came unexpectedly, though. A couple of months ago, you weren't sure if you were going to partake here.
Yeah, it's been an adventurous off season, but I'm happy something came together. I'm happy to be a part of this new team. It's been difficult to be up there with the Penske's, Ganassi's, and Andretti's. They've been here for, over 20 years, and it's been difficult to compete with them. This for Carlin is their second year in IndyCar. I'm a rookie, so we're still a work in progress, but we have definitely shown pace.
Right. Now, again, you are a rookie. You're only 19 years old, correct?
Yes, 19.
Cannot even rent a car. Is that difficult for you?
That's right. Yeah, I can't rent my own car.
I mean, that has to be difficult now. You're traveling around, and someone else, I guess, has to drive you everywhere you're going, right?
Yeah, I guess I have to Uber everywhere. But...
Okay. That's messed up. You're like, I'm a professional driver, but I have to have an Uber take me around.
They should let us rent a car.
They should. I mean,
I think they let you up until like when you're 21, but with like a waiver or something. I don't even know.
Something like that. There's like some rules and stuff.
There are.
We were finding so much stuff about the car situation. Like, there's so many details with your car and every car that we see. A fraction of a second is so important.
Yeah. I mean, every inch of the track is something. And that's what makes it so tough around these places, because you don't have grass, you have a wall. So when track time is so important, you need to do laps. If you shunt in the first or second practice, you're done, because you won't have as many laps as everybody else. So it's a tough compromise. But you have to push. You have to learn what the car likes and what you have to work through. But no, I think it really tests your skills for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the vehicle, I noticed they've taken your car apart over here. What exactly is the reasoning behind that?
So every time after a session, they just take off the side pods, take off the engine covers and everything, and they basically have it. Not skeleton. Skeleton would be just the tub, but those get bolted on pretty easily. So all the only wing that's on it is the rear wing.
Okay.
And everything else then goes on the setup pad. There's different kinds. Ours kind of go elevated into like some circles each tire does, and some other people have scales. So it's just a different type of way to set up the car, or to look through the information of what the car is like. But it's pretty easy to put back together when they take off the side pods and stuff.
Okay.
Would you say there's a big difference between Formula One and the Indy?
There is definitely differences because Formula One cars are designed to run in road courses. These have to withstand the speeds of an oval. So we are a lot heavier because we have intrusion panels within the monocoque. So whenever you have a big accident in an oval that we don't wish for anybody, the monocoque has to be really, really strong in case something wants to intrude through the cockpit. It's all carbon fiber, but there's panels like bulletproof panels, so it can eliminate stuff coming through. Sometimes it's not enough, but it really helps a lot. But it does add on to the weight a lot. Like these cars are a good 300 pounds heavier.
Oh, wow.
The engines are different as well. The budgets are hugely different. So it's just a different kind of racing. But right now, there's no other series that's more competitive than IndyCar.
Yeah.
I know the weight of the vehicle is very important, and I understand that you don't put a lot of gasoline in it or a lot of fuel just to make sure.
Yeah, I guess for practice sessions, not much. For the race, you load it up quite a bit. So everything changes just a little bit, like ride heights. Because you are like 50 kilos heavier.
Oh, okay, okay. Right. So how many times do you think you have to like stop with the pit crew during a race?
I think it's going to be either 2 or 3 times this race.
Okay.
That's crazy. Now, we were wondering, before we spoke to you, we were like, what car does he use in Mario Kart?
Yeah, that's true. Like, who's your character? Who are you
Who's
using?
your character?
Oh, Mario.
A traditionalist, I understand. Very nice.
I used to use Donkey Kong a lot.
Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Okay, you like the heavier vehicles.
Yeah, Donkey Kong or Mario.
All right, very nice.
And I know you also said you don't really care about any other sports. So you're not watching like the NBA playoffs, you're not watching Champions League, none of that, NHL hockey playoffs.
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
No, I like cars, and I'll watch like some big fights of boxing.
Okay.
Oh.
But that's pretty much it. Everything else, I just find it very boring.
Very boring. I mean, when you're going 200 miles an hour, I guess everything else is a little bit boring.
That's
Well,
true.
it's just watching, I guess. I mean, they're just kicking a ball, so.
Don't tell Messi that.
Yeah, well, hey.
Or
Or
Cristiano.
Cristiano Ronaldo. Don't tell any of those people that.
Right, that's so true. Now, again, you were driving for Formula cars at 13, right? What was that adrenaline like as a young teenager?
It's a rush, man. It's cool. It's really cool, and I guess it's a bit overwhelming at first because everything is just so much bigger, so much faster.
Okay.
And you are a kid, so like, obviously you're not going at the speeds that these do, but you're going somewhat fast, and the consequences if you make a mistake are pretty steep. So,
yeah.
Right, yes.
So you have to be careful for sure.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
listen, I think we've taken up enough of your time. We appreciate you sitting and talking with us
Yes,
here
thank
at
you.
Double Overtime and at LATV. We wish you the best of luck for the rest of today and tomorrow. Y si quieres decirle algo
And the rest
a
of the
tus-
series as well.
Yes. The rest of the series,
Right.
correct. Y si quieres decirle un mensajito a
En
tus
español o en
fans,
inglés.
como quieras, de México, de todo el mundo, say a little something.
No, pues los invito a que vengan al Gran Premio de Long Beach. Es un súper evento, es mi primera vez, los quiero ver aquí, quiero ver banderas mexicanas. Y pues bueno, pues a darle duro, ayer andamos bien y vamos a estar listos para calificación.
Did you get that, John?
No.
We are back with Double Overtime. Patricio had to go. Pero for real, Pato was racing at the age of 17. Were
Right.
you even potty trained by 17?
I was housebroken before 17. I think I was able to pee on my own at the age of maybe 4 or 5, I hope. At least last I recall. But, there's still accidents from time to time. Monse.
Did he go to high school? I'm like so confused. At the age of 17, I was figuring out life. I mean, I still am.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. It's like, you figured out life at 17?
No. But what were you guys doing at the age of 17?
Well, I mean, some people that might be watching us might not even be 17 yet. So
yes, so you can decide what you want to do when you're 17. You can be
That's
racing
true.
professionally.
That's true. I mean, I was driving at least by 17, so I had that.
I was not driving at 17. The last thing I wanted to do was drive. So my mom was really annoyed that I kept having her take me to school, take me to my volleyball game, my basketball game. She wanted me to get my license when I turned 16. I was like, Mommy, no, I just don't want to drive.
What?
She forced me to go get my driver's license on my 18th birthday. Like, took me out of school and took me to take my driver's test.
As you should. I mean, you need to have that independence. You need to be able to drive around. I wanted to drive basically the second that I found out cars were a thing. Now, I couldn't drive until, of course, the legal age.
Right.
But I had an aunt that had me drive her around at the age of 14. She may have enjoyed serious libation from time to time, and, so she had me drive.
All right. Well, speaking about driving and moving quickly, we are moving quickly into the NBA Finals.
We really are.
We really are.
Playoffs are just right around the corner.
Right around the corner. And my Clippers are the biggest underdogs in 30 years. 100-1 to knock out the reigning champs.
Right.
I need you to give me some words of advice as to how I'm going to get through this series.
Well, here's how you can get through the series. You can at least know they'll win one game. So they probably won't get swept. So they'll have at least some dignity at the end of the week, but they're probably still going to lose to the Warriors. I mean, they really needed to somehow get that number 7 seed. They really needed that one.
But I'm not upset with the standings. I'm not. I am happy. I did not want OKC and Rockets playing in the first round. Mm-hmm. That is the one thing where I was like, I don't care what else happens. I just don't want them playing in the first round because I didn't want either of them to eliminate each other in the first round.
Okay, well, but now we have the second round where the Warriors and the Rockets could meet up, and that's not what the NBA wanted. They wanted them back in the Western Conference Championship again, but now that's not even a possibility.
What about, why can't OKC make a run for it?
I mean, they can. No one's saying that they're knocked out already.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, but on paper, what the NBA was looking for, they were hoping that Houston would be 2 or 3, and then they would meet the Warriors later in the finals and have that repeat, but that's just not going to be the case anymore.
That is not going to be the case at all. I'm a little nervous as to what's going to happen. I'm not going to lie, but I'm so looking forward to it. We obviously expect, Warriors to come out on the West side.
Right.
Right now, just pick a team for the East. Who do you think is going to come out on the East?
I mean, really, at this point in time, if I'm looking at how the teams are playing going into it, you kind of have to look at the Bucks as the best. But again, I can't rule out the Celtics. I really just can't.
Because my next question was, are you picking the Bucks because that's what everyone's expecting, and on paper they should?
Right.
Or is that what you feel in your heart?
Well, what I've seen
John?
as of my heart lies to me sometimes, okay? So this is what I've just been seeing. So I'm going on what my eyes are telling me more so than my heart. Because if we're going to go with just heart alone, then I would probably say the Celtics. But if we're going, but what I've seen, I'm going to say Bucks. That's just the fairest bet.
Well, Mike Budenholzer has been voted as the coach of the year for the Bucks.
Right, yeah. Officially. As he should be. I mean,
he led the team to 60 wins.
Yeah. I mean, they went from a lower seed to the number 1 seed in the East. So you kind of have to give him the respect he deserves. Hopefully he won't get fired like the last coach of the year did.
Dwayne Casey, we still love you. Don't worry.
Yeah. No, he's fine, I'm sure. But
I could have argued that Doc Rivers, Clippers, argued Doc Rivers could have won after kind of losing his superstar, still getting his team to the playoffs.
Well, I mean, he didn't lose Lou, but he did lose a superstar.
Our starting superstar.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
there's so many. I felt like there was like a lot of coaches this year that you really could have argued for.
Right.
You know, Mike Malone, you could have argued for.
Right.
So I
But
was
not
a
Luke
little
Walton,
shocked.
who's no longer with the Lakers, everyone. He's
Wah, wah. It was a mutual.
No, it was mutual, as it should be, because he knew he couldn't coach LeBron.
Yep.
LeBron was going to constantly show disrespect.
Yep.
Who wants to coach in that kind of environment?
It's
There
true.
is no way for him to win in the situation. The Kings also fired their coach.
Correct.
So it looks like now he's going to stay in California and just make his way north to Sacramento.
Kind of back towards Oracle, where he was an assistant coach for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Kind of back in the same area. You know, Magic Johnson, no longer part of the Lakers.
That one was shocking. That was surprising.
There's obviously something we don't know going on.
Oh, yeah. He probably just hates Rob Pelinka.
I'm
going to say that
agree.
right now.
Yeah, I totally agree. And all he said was that he wanted to go back to being Magic.
Right. Well, because Magic doesn't like not being successful.
Right.
He's really only known success. You know,
Right.
when he had a rough time with the Lakers, he went into the front office, was like, fire everybody.
Yep.
I don't lose. So anytime he's in a situation where things aren't going well for him, he runs away. Like that TV show he had, what was it, The Magic Hour? Everybody brought that up. When people hate Magic, or at least upset with Magic, they bring up his failed TV
failed
show
stuff,
every time. They're like, you remember The Magic Hour? That was awful, Magic. That was awful.
All right, so you know what else is awful before we move away from basketball?
Yeah.
That Dwyane Wade and Dirk Nowitzki have officially finished their NBA careers.
It's true. It's true.
I cried for like hours.
For Dwyane?
Dwyane, I was watching Dwayne's game, and it was so fun. You know, his wife was there, Gabrielle Union. John Legend was there with his wife, and he had a triple-double his last home game in Miami.
Yeah.
He did so well. I like got teary-eyed. They did such a good tribute to him. But then you get to Dallas game, and Dirk at the end says, as many of you have expected, I didn't, Dirk. As many of you have expected.
How could you not
this
expect
is
that?
my
The
last
man could
home.
barely walk across the court. Like, it was hard for him to move.
I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. And when he officially, I'm telling you, like, I cried. Like,
He cried.
he did cry. And
Yeah.
he cried in his last game, which was with the Spurs. He had a great game. He had a 20 and 10. He had a double-double.
Right.
And what I loved about that was that every time he scored, Spurs fans cheered.
Even Pop was cheering. Pop was telling people to back off him. No, back off, Dirk. Let him get that shot. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
And that's what I'm talking about. Like, in Dwayne's final home game, Haywood Highsmith, there was a fast break, loose ball. Dwyane Wade was going for it. He wanted to bounce the ball off the backboard, and that guy stopped him from doing it. And I was like, why would you do that?
Because
One,
he's still
who
getting
are
paid.
You? Two, why would you do that? Beto, for real, who are you?
Right,
Do you know who that is, that name I just gave you?
No.
That's my point.
And that's why he
That
did
is
it.
my point.
Well, that's why he did it. He wants to be a name.
No.
You got to go get your name.
It's a negative name now.
Oh.
I was so upset that he didn't let Dwyane Wade do that off the backboard dunk or whatever it was Dwyane had in mind.
I mean, you know, these men have to go home and look at their little children in the face. You don't want your kid to look at you being like, you got dunked on by Dwyane Wade. That man is old. You don't want that.
Dude, that man
you don't
is
want
all
that.
right.
You
All
don't
right,
want
all
that.
right. So we're getting into NBA playoffs and, you know, UEFA Champions League. It's going into the knockout rounds. We're in the
It is.
quarterfinals, but this is it. You know, what happens after these games is going to determine who moves on.
Right.
And some stuff has happened.
Right. Barcelona scored a goal recently against Manchester United.
In Manchester territory.
They did it in Manchester, meaning that it counted for 2 goals.
Correct.
Now, some people were saying they were lucky to only have scored just the one.
Seriously.
Or, you know, people say Manchester could have had 2 or more scored against them, but at least, you know, they kept it to 1 to keep it respectable.
They did. But we did have a big injury. Tottenham, they lost their striker, Harry Kane, in the second half. Now, they won the game. They scored 1 goal, but they do lose their striker, and now they're not going to be home, and they only have 1 goal. I don't know how they're going to pull it off. I feel like you just lost your striker, man.
Well, I mean, there's got to be some adversity from time to time in sports. It's just unfortunate that this is the time in which it happened. But maybe now somebody that we don't know the name of will step up to the plate or step up to the grass, I guess, in this situation.
And see,
and score.
I am very curious to see how Manchester City will deal knowing that they've lost their main striker. You know, like I'm super curious to see how they're going to deal with that. Even though the coach did say, hypothetically speaking, if we advance, if we get to the finals, maybe we can reevaluate how serious his sprain is. Would you play? Like you, John, you know, basketball championship, broken ankle. But
broken ankle?
All right, but it's been like a couple, you've been on recovery for like a couple weeks.
Broken is extreme.
Oh, okay,
all
so
right.
John can't do it.
Not
Can
on a
you
broken
do it?
ankle.
I think Ben Roethlisberger played on a broken ankle.
Well, that's different.
How is that different?
Well, because that's football. He just stands there and chucks it. That's all the arm. You know, with basketball, I'm running and jumping.
So
I'll do it on a very sprained ankle.
On a very sprained ankle.
Torn ligaments, I'm cool with. But if it's broken, I don't think I can handle it. Especially if both of my legs were broken, like that poor girl in Auburn. That was hard to watch. Like every time I saw it, I had that feeling like I was gonna throw up. I mean, it was the roughest injury I've seen, and I've seen a lot of injuries, but just see both legs just, that was hard.
Samantha, that looks tough. I hear you have a wedding in a couple months. We really hope that you recover and you're able to just walk down the aisle as you should. We feel so terrible for that awful injury. It's like a freak accident, you know? But back to Champions League, because our boy who we've been talking about, Cristiano Ronaldo, now has set the record for the most all-time leading scorer in Champions League. He scored his 125th goal against Ajax.
All right.
Tie game, though. It was a tie game.
It was tie. All right. Well, I mean, you know, he's still showing that he has a little left in the tank.
Yeah.
There's still a little value left in him. He doesn't have to come to MLS just yet. You know, that him scoring the only goal just, you know, kept those haters at bay, which is fine, you know?
And you know what? Speaking of haters, John, thank you. You set me up, threw me a fastball. I'm going to hit it out of the park. Haters. We had some Chelsea haters who were videotaped chanting a racist remark towards Liverpool player Mohamed Salah, who's an Egyptian player. And, you know, the coach for Liverpool, he's kind of saying these fans should be banned.
Well, I mean, they called him a bomber, correct?
They did.
Now,
they did.
Not in a good way.
No.
If you were called a bomber in baseball or something, it means that you were hitting home runs.
Right.
To be called a bomber in soccer, that's, definitely a racist slur. So, the fans should be removed. I mean, that's not appropriate.
Not at all.
Not at all.
That shouldn't be like, it should not be the type of environment when you go play. And you know, the coach said it perfectly. He's like, soccer is like the most inclusive sport. Like you literally get people from all over the world.
Everyone but Antarctica.
Who plays soccer. So like to hear that, I hated that. I'm totally with them. Ban them. Why go to a game? You can sit at home and chant whatever you want. Pero for real.
Right. Well, I still don't want them to chant whatever. I still don't want them to be racist.
Okay, well, John, people kind of suck sometimes.
That's true.
And I don't think we can change that. But I think we can help set the right tone, and I'm with the coach 100%. So a lot of fun stuff happening.
It's true. It's very true.
We're here having a great time. We're getting toasty, but I think we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
We're going to wrap up double overtime.
Kind of a triple overtime with the guests.
Yes, Thank you so much, you guys. Remember to follow us across social media. Like, tweet, comment. Let us know what you were doing at the age of 17. Let us know what you think the Lakers are going to do with the coach position. Right. Who's going to come out of the East? Because we kind of all know who's going to come out of the West. And we'll see if Cristiano Ronaldo is going to score another goal. We'll see. Let us know what you think.
Maybe a hat trick.
Maybe. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye, everybody.